Hi, I'm kqnic. I haven't uploaded a video since 2018, so I'd just like to say, welcome to the channel. Anyways, we're here to talk Final Shape. Most of you are probably aware that Destiny 2's next, and potentially final, expansion is releasing in just a few days. If you're here, you've probably already watched a few videos or read a couple articles about all of the new content coming with Final Shape, so there's no need for me to cover that again. Today, I'm going to tell you what, in my opinion, is the best way to actually experience Final Shape on the iToaster in front of you. Play the game with no HUD. First off, I'm going to add a caveat to this whole video by saying that this isn't for everyone. If you're trying to blast through the campaign to start leveling for the day 1 raid, then this obviously isn't for you because it's going to make the campaign take a bit longer to get through. If you're not a fan of Souls-likes, challenge runs, or sweaty gameplay, you'll probably hate playing this way. But it doesn't make the game impossible by any stretch. If you're the type to get angry when you have to replay a level after you die, then I'm gonna guess that this wouldn't make the game any more fun for you. Intentionally limiting your information makes the game more difficult in a variety of ways, but in my opinion it also makes the moment-to-moment gameplay more engaging and immersive. If you're playing the campaign with a friend or two, this makes the experience a lot more approachable because you can revive each other and lean on your fire team for support, so it's at least worth a try. You can always just turn your HUD back on if it starts getting annoying. If you've played any Halo game with the blind skull turned on, or Battlefield hardcore servers, you already know the difference that it can have on how a game plays, especially for a first-person shooter. It forces you to learn your limitations as the player and rely more on your senses to progress and excel in the game. Okay, now I assume most of you are thinking one of two things. How does turning off my HUD change anything? Or, I need the HUD to play the game. Well, let me answer those two questions by showing you what a no HUD experience looks like and explaining why I find it so much more interesting. Back when Lightfall released, the vast majority of people hated it for a variety of reasons that we don't need to get into. However, I actually enjoyed the campaign quite a bit, although the story was ass. We can all agree on that one. Why, you say? Well, it's because I played the entire Legendary campaign and most of the side content in the first 2 days solo without the HUD on. Although I will say, for any match-made content like the seasonal activity, I turned my HUD back on so that my teammates didn't fist their monitors and well skate into the Traveler because I ran in the wrong direction for 10 minutes. And because commendations. It made my time with Lightfall a lot more fun, and that's the reason I'm making this video now. I streamed the entire thing on twitch.tv/kqnic, and I'll be streaming my Final Shape solo Legendary no HUD run as well. So come by and say hi if you're not busy playing the campaign yourself. After my trials and tribulations, I can say that I know the main differences now and why I enjoyed it so much, so now I'll explain myself. To start off, you can't see your ability cooldowns, health bar, or the crosshair. These are probably the least difficult parts to deal with in a no HUD run. In terms of the crosshair, I just aim down the sights. You'll get a feel for where the center of your screen is over time, and you can also see your bullet tracers, which help with hip firing. It basically means that you have to know your build well and listen for the sound effects of your abilities recharging and your shield breaking and charging. The Halo players out there already have the shield break and charge sound seared into their brains, and Destiny players are much the same. So if you hear this, it's time to find some cover and regen your shield. Only 2 abilities have unique recharge sound effects tied to them, your super and grenade. There is a recharge sound effect for your melee ability, but it only plays if you have a method of quick recharging it, like Knife Trick Hunter, where you get another melee charge if you land a kill, or Bonk Hammer Titan, where it recharges way faster if you pick up the hammer after you throw it. Class abilities on all classes unfortunately don't have a sound effect tied to them for whatever reason. So here's how they all sound. Second, you can't see ammo counts. For primaries, this doesn't matter. For special and heavy weapons though, this is super important. This also gives some nuanced value to weapons with a visible ammo display, which, kind of like the pulse rifle from Aliens, isn't really that useful most of the time, but when your HUD is off, it can give you some much needed information. Managing your reloads and knowing how much ammo is in your mag is key to winning fights, but you can build around this by using weapons that functionally never have to reload, like bows, swords, Osteostriga, or Exdiris, and using perks like auto-loading holster, Envious Assassin, or Reconstruction. Bottom line is that knowing how much ammo your weapons max out at and playing with ammo conservation in mind will make the encounters a lot more manageable. If you're worried about overworking your ghost, play with a primary that can hold its own if you run out of purple and green ammo. Keep your eyes peeled for ammo boxes, which we all do anyway, and if you run over one and it doesn't disappear, you'll know that you're topped up and ready to deal some hefty DPS. Lastly, you can't see buffs, debuffs, or objective markers. This honestly for me is the most rewarding aspect, because if you can get through the campaign without them, it means that you have a mastery of the build that you're running, that you understand your enemies and how they can debuff you, and you can figure out where to go and what to do without a constant little dingle showing you exactly where everything is. Side note, not having an objective marker on my screen the whole time is why I had the idea of playing without the HUD in the first place. It's kind of like having a sign on a road every 2 feet that says road ahead. Alright, back to the third point. Not having navigational markers is great in my opinion, and it makes it feel more like you're exploring to find the path rather than barreling forward towards a small gray rhombus. No objective markers, however, means that either Bungie is going to have to do a great job of visually distinguishing interactable objects, or you have to do some good old trial and error. There was one specific fight in the Lightfall campaign where I got a little stuck, but I ended up figuring it out pretty quickly. What tripped me up is that usually when you hold down the interact button to interact with something, it makes a faint sound that sounds something like this. This specific time, the game didn't play that sound, and I didn't hold down the button long enough the first couple times, so I just assumed that these little pillars weren't what I had to mess with. I was completely wrong. Eventually I went back and it turned out that I just had to hold E a little bit longer. The rest of the encounter was a breeze from there. To wrap things up, playing without your HUD is a really interesting and rewarding experience. A little bit like solving a Rubik's Cube with your eyes closed, or remembering exactly where the light switch is when it's pitch black in your room. It makes the game feel less like a video game and more like your guardian is really out there somewhere and you're just piloting them through your screen. There is a part of me that's going to feel bad for turning off the HUD right after Bungie improves it, but it won't matter to me during the campaign anyway. For raids and dungeons, I reckon it'll help a lot, but after playing Lightfall without it, I'd prefer it that way for any story content. I highly recommend at least giving it a go and seeing if it's something that improves your time with the game. Final Shape is only going to come out once during our lifetimes, so why not give it a shot? It may make for an unforgettable experience. You can always turn your HUD back on whenever you want to, even if it's just to get through a really tough encounter. And just as a reminder, please turn your HUD on when you're matchmaking with randoms. We don't need any more shitposts on the Destiny subreddit. If you want to watch me play through Final Shape live, solo, on Legendary, with no HUD, head over to Twitch and follow me at twitch.tv/kqnic. I'll also be streaming other random crap during the year if you're interested. Destiny is not the only game I play. If you like the video, you should consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Let me know in the comments if you ended up playing Final Shape with no HUD and if you enjoyed it. Have a great rest of your day, and thanks for watching.